going on, everybody? It's your boy Brendan, aka Drip, back with another video. In today's video, we're going to do a Invoked Shaddoll deck profile and discussion video. This will be a discussion video, so it will be a longer video. I'll probably put the timestamps in the comments down below, so you can go check that out if you don't want to hear me talk and you're just here for the list. But if you're wanting to hear my thoughts and reasonings for cards that I choose, then shout out to you for being the GOAT. But if you don't know and you're not members of the channel, well, consider hitting the subscribe button. I appreciate it. I love you guys for it. But the people who are members of the channel and the Discord fam know that I mentioned that I was going to revisit a couple of decks to see how they play in the modern format and stuff like that, which I typically do anyways after the ban lists, because the ban list shakes so much stuff up. You never know what old deck that you love or whatever that you played in the past how it can compete in modern formats. So I told them I was going to revisit this, and I made this list. I worked like a lot of people think it's just swapping a couple cards in and out. It's not that simple to get like the consistency you need, definitely with a deck like this. So I literally tried everything, all the ways that are known to play this deck, and I came up with this list. For the most part, some of it, majority of it's cookie cutter, but there's reasonings for choosing other cards to run why I felt this was the way. Shout outs to the Mandalorian. But I took this to my box tournament, and I got fourth place. I went X1. Technically, I went X1-1, but one of my buddies gave me the win. My matchups were round one. I played against Sprite Melfi. Won that 2-0. Round two, I played against Fire King, lost a die roll, and game one, I opened double Ash, double Prosperity and Beast, and then game two again against Fire Kings, I went first, and I didn't go full combo, but I went combo enough to where against most decks it would be enough. But he just opened the outs. He ashed my Shaddoll fusion, and then I think he like impermed my Alistair, and then on his turn cosmic the Shaddoll Schism. So what the hell do you do in situations like that? Round four, but I do think this deck has a very good matchup against that deck, which I will talk more about that when we get hopefully I remember, but I'll talk more about that when we get further into the profile and discussion. Round three, I played against RDA, which was my buddy guy that gave me the win. I played game one. We had like a 25, 30-minute game one. It was insane. But ended up winning it with Winda and Kaliga mid-game. Game two, I misplayed terribly and held Schism too long, and it punished me to force a game three, or I would have won that game. Game three, there was literally 60 seconds left. I went first, and time was called, pretty much. But he ended up giving me the win, even though I told him not to. But he's just the boy like that. But then round four, I played against Labyrinth, and I won that one 2-0. This deck is very versatile right now. It's amazing what this deck can do when Droll's not running around in the main decks everywhere. It's kind of insane. Or an Arise Heart is a thing. So, yeah, if you're actually allowed to use your graveyard and can add more than once, it's amazing what this deck can do. But I really think this deck is very solid right now, pre-Phantom Nightmare. Granted, the only thing is really I think is going to truly change after Phantom Nightmare is Fire King's going to become more fucking annoying. Other than that, not much. But other than that, I think this deck is very good, and I think it's not dead. It never died, I don't think. It's kind of like Sword Soul, it never dies. Just adjust and adapt from format to format. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into this list. There's a lot of this list. I went back to the old school way of playing this deck. So if you're here expecting to see the Quim and Cartesia, as much as they are my waifus of choice, I am not running them. I like the my playstyle fits more of the old school way of playing this, and that's it. So starting out, we got 3 Alistair, 3 Meltdown, Terraforming, and 2 Invocation. This is very standard, very cookie cutter. Everyone knows what it does. Everyone knows what Alistair does. I know the Terraforming is like typically in and out depending on formats, but like I said a second ago, since Droll's not running around literally everywhere, you can get away with running it. On top of that, My new motto is consistency over utility. Consistency is greater than utility, literally. So, fun fact. We'll be on the lookout for new merch. Consistency over utility. So that's why we opt to run the terraforming. Shaddoll lineup is a little bit different than my standard, but we are still running 8, even though I've been back and forth on 8 and 9. 2 Squam, 2 Windy, 1 Dragon, 1 Beast, 1 of the MVP, and then 1 Falco. Fun fact: in early stages of this new list, I was running 3 Squall for a while. I'm not running Hedgehog. That card is not very good in my personal opinion, and it hasn't been for the past few formats. But I'm sure it will be good once again. It's just a lot of these ratios and a lot of these cards float in and out of format. I'll probably never run a Shaddoll list without Falco. I know a lot of people don't like it and don't want to run it, but I really enjoy this card and what utility it provides. Definitely when you get it in rotation, this and Resh, it's just very hard to crack your board, and it's very good going into Fire Kings because it makes it to where you can grind or outgrind them. Because if they make the XE and nuke your board, then all your stuff floats anyways, and all these are the ones that mainly float. This against Fire Kings just kills them. It just destroys them. Um, definitely resolve it early, like early-ish, to where they have like 3 or 5 cards in graveyard. It just sets you so far ahead. Definitely like resolving a Shaddoll fusion. Like if you're going second and they go first, they set up the graveyard a little bit, and you just resolve Shaddoll fusion, and you just resolve Aerial by sending this and this and make App Clone, and you're just so far ahead that they're not coming back. They're just really not. But yeah, moving on. The dog package. 3 Nadir, 1 Starlight Ecclesia, not the Great Value brand quarter century, and then 1 Fleur de Lis. 3 Nadir now, since we're not running the Quinn package and the Cartesia package, so you need a third 1 card combo. So that's why we're back on 3. I know if you see my previous list, I run 2. That in the last list that I ran with Cartesia and all that, but I'm back to the old ways. I've seen some people not running Fleur de Lis, and I just don't understand why. Because if you draw this in tangent with this, then this is just dead, and your other copies are dead, so it makes no sense. Granted, I get it. You can add your dog cards back from graveyard, but like, yo, what are you doing? Free imperm that activates in hand to play around stuff is very nice. Now on to the hand traps. 3 Nib because it's Nib and it just destroys a lot of decks. I legit resolved this 5 times at the box tournament last night. It's insane, and it's a light target, which comes up a lot, ironically. And then 3 Ash. That's literally it. Consistency over utility. And I was afraid at first when I was first playing this new list that I was going to miss like 3 to 6 more hand traps because like we as Yu-Gi-Oh players in modern times over the course of the past 5 to 7 years have grown so accustomed to running so many hand traps that it's become codependency almost, it feels like, that you don't think a lot of decks can't really contend without hand traps, and I'm guilty of that as well. But I really think no, so excuse me, sorry, but I really think some decks don't really need it, and I think this may be one of them. Maybe just the format, who knows? But every time I've ran 9 to 12 hand traps, I've always bricked, and I just want to play Yu-Gi-Oh. That's all I want to do. I want to normal summon Alistair and it get impermed and still be able to play, because let's get one thing straight. We never normal summon Alistair anymore and actually expect him to freaking resolve. So with that being said, you need to be able to play have other cards to be able to continue playing. In order to do that, you need to make room for them and keep it consistent. At 40, you need to run less hand traps, which we do here. There's some situations where I wish this was another light monster. I wouldn't run Valor though, because Valor and Imperm just feel very mid for me right now. I don't like them as much. They're not as high. I like them, don't get me wrong. I just don't think they're as high impact. Because the only true card right now I feel like is very impactful, like Valoring or Imperming, is obviously Turbulence. Other than that, yes, you might have a couple of rogue matchups, yada yada yada, that Impermanent Valiant will be very impactful for. But I'll build my decks to combat the meta, because I feel like sometimes if you can combat the meta, you can combat the rogue. Unless it's some deck completely out of left field, that's different. You can't really prepare for that. But I like to build for the meta, and I think these are the main ones. Granted, Ash still feels mid from time to time because it doesn't feel like enough, but hitting a branded fusion, a Fire King Island, and stuff like that just feels too good sometimes. But Nib has been absolutely insane. Definitely against Fire Kings. Um, Moving on to the last monster of the deck. If you've been a member of the channel for a while, you know that this card's in and out, but a lot of people are going to be excited, myself included. The boy, the boy is back. The Golden Daddy, the Golden Lord boy. This card is actually insane, which we all know. We've been people who've been playing Shaddolls. We all know this is the best light target. Um, Screw the trick clown and all that crazy shit. But this card actually was very nice. It allowed me to force out a Alpi Masquerena last night. That was really cool because I drew it and I used an extra spell in my hand to send to force out the IP to force him to make SP Little Knight so they wouldn't get as much advantage of it by banishing one of my cards. One of the spells, we have 3 Shaddoll Fusion and then 1 L. Yo, let me tell you, like L has been absolutely insane for me through testing and last night at the freaking box tournament. Dodging, making a window to dodge targeting effects on Alistair with this card is just fucking free real estate. And then pushing for game with this cards too. And the situations where they attack your schism and you still have this set is really nice too. I was trying to, but it kept getting bricky and I kept drawing both for some odd reason. Like there was such like every time when I ran two, like I wanted to run two just to see this card more, but um I just kept drawing both of them in the same hand. So I was like, all right, I got to cut that down. Even though I don't want to, I want to see this card in my hand like all the time. These 2 cards I want to see in my hand. I don't know why. But moving on to the rest of the spells, this next card is going to be controversial. I know, I get it. Trust me. But that is 3 Prosperity. I know this is controversial because our deck lives and dies by the extra deck. But like I said earlier in this video, consistency over utility is what you need to keep in mind. And yes, I know you're never going to resolve this more than once, but you need to get it in hand first. You need to get it in hand because if they hit your Alistair or whatever else, you need to be able to keep digging to keep playing. Whether it's searching for a Nadir Servant, a Shaddoll Fusion, the invocation. Hell, I resolved. They imper my Alistair, and I used this and got an invocation off of it. So it's just too good. But the other ones, like if you resolve it once, the other two, like, well, they're dead. They're dead cards. No, they're not. They're free discard fodder off of Makaba and your Golden Lord. The second card that I had in hand to force out the IP was a second copy of Prosperity. So that's how I was able to force that out, and it was just free. It was free because I didn't need it, and then I proceeded to go combo. But um, the 3 Prosperity has been very good to me. I didn't think I would like it at first because I normally used to run it at 2. Before I didn't even run at all. I ran talents in its slot, but like I hate having talents in my hand and then my opponent not playing into it because that crap happens to me all the time. But 3 Prosperity has been very good to me. I promise you, don't knock it until you try it. It's been very good. Moving on, Call by the Grave because we need to resolve our cards, and this is very good if you don't need to use it and you just set it and then activate it to get rid of something. Definitely against Fire Kings or something like that. It's very nice. Um, then the last spell in the deck is Instant Fusion. This card's actually freaking cracked. This is a combo piece and protection all in one. Using this to bring out Mud Dragon to protect your Alistair from targeting effects to be able to resolve is nice. And then taking Alistair and that to make a SP Little Knight if you need to is disgusting on going second. And using the Mud Dragon if your Alistair resolves or whatever, using the Mud Dragon to manipulate its attribute to whatever you want for your Shaddoll fusion if need be is absolutely insane. If you're going first and you draw like a Shaddoll, but you need to turn it into a light to make construct is absolutely cracked. Also, this card, if you don't open a Shaddoll, but you open Shaddoll Fusion, you can go normal summon Alistair, link into Maiden, and then use this to bring out your window, and then use your Shaddoll Fusion because it basically gives you instant access to a Shaddoll to get your combo rolling. So like this card helps you so much to be able to push and to be able like push through the dead hands if you open them. So I really enjoy that card. Then the last two cards of the deck is Schism and Resh. Nothing need to be said. Grind game and Our Turn. Nothing needs to be said about that. On to the extra deck. Sorry, I got to rearrange stuff since it was in certain order from the first time I tried to record this video. But for the extra deck, it's going to be different to what a lot of people are accustomed to or would like, but this is what works for me, and this is what I've had a lot of success with, so I wanted to show it to you guys. We got Artemis. Artemis is old and classic, everybody knows. Gravity Controller is kind of old and classic, and everybody knows, but this card's very good, and I don't ever want to cut it because sometimes you open those awkward hands where you can only get to a construct, but you need to get construct engraved, so that's where Gravity Controller comes up. One SP Little Knight. Nothing needs to be said. This card is warped the format since release. So the past like 3 to 4 months, this card's just warped the format. That's it for the Link Monsters. I don't miss any others or need any others. You don't need any others in my personal opinion. Onto the fusions. We have two of Shaddoll Mommy, 2 construct. I was running 1, but I decided to cut the second Macabre. The second Macabre for the second construct because those are the ratios that keep going back and forth. The reason why is because I feel like your invoked cards are your front line, like military basically. Think of it like if you're an army, your invoke cards are your front line, and then you clean up with your Shaddoll cards or both engines if need be. But your Shaddoll is the guts of your deck, and the invoked is just the front line. Hence, like for an example, we put a Kaliga or a Macabre out there, and then we summon these on our opponent's turn. These are the guts. The invoke cards are the front line. Moving on, 2 of my favorite one and the best girl. Two Alkaline. I'd run 3 if I had room. If Konami upped the extra deck count, I'm running 3. 100%. This is my favorite and the best one. Permanently negating something. Can't be destroyed by battle. So if you're getting an awkward situation, just set this bitch in defensive position. You just win. And then because you need 1 for Nadir and you need 1 to summon. People running 1, I don't understand that because, like I said, 1 for Nadir, 1 to summon. And then 2 Winda. Definitely since we're running 2 comes up in the grind game now because the game is so fast paced and everybody and their fucking mother is running Fenrir. They can run a 40 card deck on all 37 spells, and in 3 of them, only 3 monsters they run is Fenrir. Everybody's running Fenrir and their mother, so you need the second one to be able to complete the lock after you out their stupid Fenrir. Not only that, since we're running instant fusion, since we can summon the 1 for the little combo piece that I told you, summon 1 for that, and then you can need a second one to lock. So the second one comes up in this version of the build that we're running. So the second window, like I said, the second window does come up. So I've enjoyed 2. I know I used to only run 1, and we used to only run 1, but right now the way the game is and the way this deck I think plays at its best, you need 2. For the invoke portion, 1 Macabre, 1 Kaliga. I don't understand why people are not running this card against bird shit, aka bird flu, Flunderies. This card just kills them. But this card is very nice. It just forces them to draw the Imperm or the Fenrir to out this guy. So I really enjoy Kaliga. I don't know why people cut him. He's the best boy. Agoides, Mr. OTK when we want to, and then fuck your Garunix, Purgatrio. Mr. OTK clear the board against Sprite last night. This guy cleared an entire freaking Sprite board. He was playing Melfi Sprite, but he was actually playing real Melfi cards, which I don't know if you know this, but they like to tag in and out and swarm the board during the battle phase to pretty much force it to where you can't kill them. Well, Purgatrio having an ultimate conductor-esque effect and being able to attack everything. So every time he summoned, I kept attacking, just until he just ran out of resources, and then I cleared up the rest of the board and attacked for game with Macabre. It was kind of hilarious, but insane. Just goes to show how good Purgatrio is. Definitely in formats where he's promoted. And the last 2 cards in the extra deck is Muddragon and Garua. Muddragon for obvious reasons, but they're both also in there for Super Poly, which we run in the side. Super Poly is very mid, but in situations where it comes up, it comes up. So I still want to run it. If you don't want to run Super Poly, you can swap those 2. Swap the Guru out at least for your second Macabre if you want to run the second Macabre. You don't need Raijin in this format. You just don't. Side deck time, because this is a tournament deck. I got 3 Super Poly, 3 Droplet. Droplet is like, it's okay. It's mainly there to dodge targeting effects for Alistair going second, which the same reason these are for. If I had room in my side deck, I'd run 3. But yeah, these are all here for dodging targeting and to just be generic, like clearing up boards going second. But yeah, it's really nice having 9 dodging targeting cards plus 10 if you count the instant fusion. Last spell card is Duster because screw Labyrinth, Rescue Ace, etc. Um, and 3 Droll because I feel comfortable with this card. This is very good against the Sinful Spoil decks, Dragon Link, the Mirror, Bird Flu, Bird Shit, etc. Mananadium. It's one of those things where I think in the modern Yu-Gi-Oh, Droll is never going anywhere. It's kind of like the TCG's version of like Max C. You build a deck, you start with Max C in the OCG. So in the TCG, you're building a deck or a side deck, you start with Droll and then fill in the rest. And then the last 3 cards of the deck, extra deck, a side deck rather, is 3 evenly matched. This card just fucks everything in the game right now. No one's really putting up non negate. And if they are, it's just Baron. You bait it out and you activate this, you win. It's good. This card is just very nasty, and every time I see it and resolve it, I just win. You just win when you do. But that's it for the deck. Clean 40, 15, and 15. I really think this deck is back, unless this format shifts drastically, which only time will tell. But I'm so happy that the deck is that. It almost feels like it did when we played it back in the day, back in its prime, like 2 or 3 years ago. But one thing I will say is I'm not running the Cartesia package only because it thins out the extra deck way too much, and it makes your deck more top heavy instead of balanced to where it can grind and stuff like that. Or you have options. Definitely while running Prosperity, it makes it even worse because it makes it to where you are playing a deck that puts up a big board, and if your opponent and forces your opponent to out it. If they don't out it, then you win. But if they out it, then you lose. And I don't like decks that force you to do that. I just don't, and I don't think or agree that that's the way Invoke should be played. Until the format shifts, I'm sure that version will come back because I do enjoy that version. I do like the versatility that Shadow's Light gives you, being able to push through an Imperm or an Ash or whatever on Alistair. I get that. I do. I really do. And anytime I can run any other form of Ecclesia, I love it because she's bae. I love her. I love that card. But not right now. I don't think so. Um, I honestly wouldn't change nothing in this deck or the list. I've tested everything you can think of under the sun, even hand traps, and I couldn't find anything that I truly felt was better than this. I've been testing it for almost a week, and I settled on this like literally 35 minutes before the tournament last night, and I don't regret it. I never found myself to be in a situation last night where I felt like I was at a disadvantage or I was going to 100% lose that match. Even before going in, um, obviously when the writing's on the wall, we all know when we lose. And even though some Yu-Gi-Oh players don't, they like to sit there with a puzzled face and constantly say thanking, and because they just don't want to accept defeat. But myself personally, I don't do that. If I see the writing on the wall, then I just let it throw in the towel. I'm not going to draw it out for either one of us. But I never felt like that last night. I felt like I was always in it. Even when I was down, I never felt out because, like, against Fire Kings, for example, he broke my entire board. But like it was game 2. He broke my entire board. I had a set dragon on board, and he popped it with the access code instead of attacking into it. And then I used the dragon to target the field spell because he didn't have sanctuary because he sent it with original sinful spoil, so he didn't have protection for the field spell. So I went dragon, target field spell, popped the field spell, and it nuked his whole board. It regekied his whole board, and he didn't have no triggers. So it literally simplified the game state, but to him just access coding a freaking dragon. It's insane. And then we both were top decking, and he top decked better than me because I top decked Droll for 2 turns. But what can you do? So. But and then I proceeded to I like draw well for the rest of the night. knock on wood, for future times I play this deck. But no, I really think you should give this list a try or pick the deck back up. The deck's not dead, guys. We can still have fun at normal summon Alistair. And if you need to pick the cards back up again, check the description for my affiliate link. It doesn't cost zero charge to you. Just sends you to TCG Player, basically as a quick link, and I get feedback for your purchase. While you're down there, check out the other ways to support me. The Discord, if you want to become closer to the D.D.D fam, is down there as well, while also having all of my social media platforms and usernames down there as well. If you want to go follow me on Twitter or X, whatever the hell you want to call it now, TikTok, all that good stuff is down there as well. Merch, store, and Patreon. I love you guys so much for checking that out. And please hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe, bell notifications so you never miss an upload. And be on the lookout for future videos and upcoming content. It's your boy Brennan, AK Drip from Team D.D.D, signing out till next time. Peace. Good dueling, my guys.